जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांगंधार गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय। नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार सुतर शतस्मार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण वसन महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार सुतर शतस्मार भक्ति वेदांत वामन वसन महाराज की जय। नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार सुतर शतस्मार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्या शतस्मर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यालिल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शतर शतस्मर भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यालिल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्रील गोक्षर बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्यालिल प्रविष्ट श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यालल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि वो। हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम्स। All right, let's start the Mangala Charan. ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अवतीर्णौ सकारुण्यो परिच्छिन्नो सरीश्वरो श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानन्दौ द्वौ भ्रातरो भजे। नमस्त्रिकालसत्याय जगन्नाथसुताय च सभृत्याय सपुत्राय सकलत्राय ते नमः। जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य लक्ष्मी कांत जय जय नित्यानंद वल्लभ एकांत जय जय वैकुंठ ईश्वर न्यासी राज जय 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 भक्त समाज। Once again. जय जय पतित पावन गौरचंद्र दान दे हृदय तोमार पद द्वंद्व शेष खंड खतवाय सुनो एक चित्ते नीलाचले गौरचंद्र आयल जे मते। तवाय वास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना एति विज्ञाय देवी त्वं नायमं चरणन्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीन अपराध लक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामदितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्न वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भज श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Caitanya-charitamrita. Ore mura lok shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Chaitanya Mangal, Jahara Shabane Nashe Sarvaya Mangal, Chaitanya Nitāi Jate Jani Mahima, जाते जानी कृष्ण भक्ति सिद्धांतेर सीमा भागवते जत भक्ति सिद्धांतेर सार लिखिया चेन इहा जानी कोरिया उधार चैतन्य मंगल सुने जदि पाषंदी जवान से हो महावैष्णव होए ततक्षण मनुष्य रचिते नारे ऐच्छे ग्रंथ धन्य वृंदावन दास मुखे वक्ता श्री चैतन्य वृंदावन दास पोरे कोटि नमस्कार ऐच्छे ग्रंथ कोरिते हो तारिला संसार नारायणी चैतन्येर उच्छिष्ट भाजन तार गर्भे जन्मिला श्रीदास वृंदावन तार की अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन जहाँ रसवने शुद्ध कोयलो त्रिभुवन सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृते धार. By nature, all the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they're described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Swaparshad Shri Gaur Hari ki Jai. Hare Krishna Bhavatarani Mataji, and if Nri Hari Prabhu is there, pranams Nri Hari Prabhu, and Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, and Kishore Krishna Prabhu, and whoever else that is watching. I can't see your name, but if you write a comment, I will see who you are. Hare Krishna. All right, so we are continuing on with our reading of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Antya-khaṇḍa Chapter 5, the pastimes of Nityānanda. This chapter describes Mahaprabhu's journey from Shantipur to Srinivasa's house in Kumarhatta, the Lord's meeting with Shivananda Sen and Vasudev Thakur, the benediction awarded to Srivas, the Lord's arrival at the house of Sri Raghava Pandit in Panihati, his meeting with the devotees there, the Lord's visit to Varahanagar, and awarding the designation Bhagavat Acharya to a particular devotee Brahman Bhagavat reciter. Then we read about the Lord's return to Nilachal, Prataparudra's intense eagerness to meet Mahaprabhu, the king's observation in a dream that Lord Jagannath and Lord Gaurasundar are non-different, the king's meeting with the Lord in a flower garland and humble prayers to the Lord, and the Lord's order to Nityananda and his associates to go to Bengal to preach. That's what we read about the day before yesterday. That's where we made it up to. And then yesterday we read Sri Nityananda's preaching love of God in Bengal and his pastimes of delivering the fallen souls. Okay, it tells it very briefly. Let's just jump around. I mean, we read a lot yesterday, and so I'm not going to read all the translations, but we can just jump around to different parts because some parts are just so much fun. I don't want yesterday to be the only time that we read it. So where was it? 231. Okay. 231. Okay, so Mahaprabhu, having received the Lord's order to preach throughout Bengal, Nityananda Chandra immediately left for Goradesh with his associates. Nityananda Swarup was accompanied by his intimate associates such as Ramdas, Gadādhara Dāsa Mahashaya, Raghunath Vaidya, who is filled with the mellows of devotional service, Krishnadas Pandit, Parameshwari Das, and the most jubilant Purandar Pandit. Purandar Pandit. As they began their journey, Lord Nityananda first bestowed ecstatic love on all of his associates. As a result, they completely forgot themselves. There was no end to the ecstatic symptoms that manifest in their bodies. Hare Krishna, Shubhananda Prabhu, and Raseshwari Mataji. Haribol. The topmost Vaishnav Ramdas was the first to manifest the mood of a cowherd boy. Somewhere on the way, Ramdas forgot the external world and stood for 9 hours in a threefold bending form. Gadādhara Das became absorbed in the mood of Radhika. He loudly laughed and said, "Who'll buy yogurt?" The most magnanimous Raghunatha Vaidya, Upadhyaya, he became fully absorbed in the mood of Revati. Krishnadas and Parameshwari Das would always raise a loud uproar in the mood of cowherd boys. Krishnadas and Parameshwari Das, they would always raise a loud uproar. What does it say here? It says, Gopala Bhabe, hoi hoi kore anukan. Hoi hoi kore. I like that. Let's see what hoi hoi, how they translate hoi hoi in the Bengali dictionary. Let's see. Hoi. Hoi hoi. Okay, it doesn't give anything there. But anyways, hoi choi. Oh no, there it is. Hoi ho. Whatever. I think it means the same thing. It means a great noise, a fuss, a tumult, uproar. Hoi choi. Oh yeah, hoi choi. That's a very famous. There's movies in Bengal called hoi choi. There's a whole streaming service called hoi choi. It means a great noise, fuss, tumult, uproar. Hoi choi. Hoi hoi. Hoi choi kora. To raise an uproar. Okay. Purandar Pandit would climb a tree and jump from it, declaring, "I am Angad." In this way, Nityananda, the origin of Ananta, aroused all of the devotees' transcendental sentiments. Within half an hour, they would cover 4 to 8 miles. They did not know whether they were going left or right. After some time, they'd ask some people, "Oh, brothers, tell us, how can we reach the Ganga?" Those people would reply, Hi, you've taken the wrong path. You have come 6 hours away from the proper path." After hearing their words, they would return to the right path. But then they would go in the wrong direction as before. They'd go in another wrong direction. Again, they would ask some people who would reply, "The proper path is 20 miles to the left." They then laughed and went towards the proper path. They were not even aware of their own bodies, so what to speak of the road? They did not feel any bodily urges like hunger, thirst, fear, or distress, for they were all relishing transcendental happiness. Who can know or describe all the pastimes that Nityananda performed on the way? They were all unlimited, or it could mean only Ananta can know and describe them. In this way, Nityananda, the origin of Lord Ananta, came to the village of Panihati on the bank of the Ganga. He first went to Raghav Pandit's house, where he stayed along with all his associates. Raghav Pandit, Sri Makara Dvajakara, and their families became greatly pleased. In this way, Nityananda stayed with his associates in the village of Panihati. He would constantly roar loudly in ecstasy, and he was always overwhelmed with no sign of external consciousness. When he felt a desire to dance, all the singers quickly gathered around him. The most pious Madhav Ghosh was expert in performing kirtan. There was no kirtan leader like him in the entire world. He was known as the singer of Vrindavan. And he was most dear to Nityananda Swarup. Madhav, Vasudeva, and Govinda were the 3 brothers. When they began to sing, Lord Nityananda would dance. The most powerful Avadut would dance in such a way that the earth would sway under the weight of his feet. He would always chant the name of Hari and roar loudly. People would be struck with wonder on seeing him forcefully fall to the ground. Anyone who received his glance as he was dancing would fall to the ground in ecstatic love. Nityananda, who was filled with the mellows of ecstatic love, now began his auspicious task of delivering the entire world. He manifested all the various transformations of loving devotional service as he danced wonderfully. After some time, he sat down on the deity throne and instructed the devotees to perform Abhishek. Raghav Pandit and the Lord's other associates immediately began to perform Abhishek. They brought thousands of pots filled with Ganga water mixed with various scented oils. Everyone happily poured water on his head as they all chanted the name of Hari in the 4 directions. They all chanted the mantras and songs that were appropriate for Abhishek, and everyone's hairs stood on end as they became filled with great satisfaction. After completing the Abhishek, they dressed Nityananda in new cloth and smeared his body with sandalwood pulp. They decorated his broad chest with garlands of forest flowers and tulsi leaves. Then they brought an opulent throne decorated with gold and placed it before him. As Lord Nityananda sat on the throne, Śrī Raghavananda held an umbrella over his head. All the devotees began to chant, Jai, Jai. Musical instruments produced ecstatic vibrations in the 4 directions. Everyone raised their arms and exclaimed, Trahi, Trahi, save us, save us. They were in such ecstasy that they forgot themselves. In his own ecstatic mood, Lord Nityananda Prabhu showered everyone in the 4 directions with ecstatic love by his merciful glance. He ordered, Listen, Raghav Pandit, quickly bring me a garland of Kadamba flowers. I am very fond of Kadamba flowers. In fact, I always reside in a Kadamba forest. With folded hands, Raghavananda said, This is not the season for Kadamba flowers. The Lord then said, Go home and look carefully. There may be some blooming somewhere. Raghav went inside the house and was struck with wonder with what he saw. He saw that the lime tree was filled with the most amazing blooming Kadamba flowers. How wonderful was the color and fragrance of those flowers. All one's material bondage was destroyed by seeing those flowers. When Raghav Pandit saw those Kadamba flowers, he lost external consciousness and became filled with jubilation. He then checked his emotions and quickly prepared a garland, which he brought to Nityananda Prabhu. When Lord Nityananda saw the garland of Kadamba flowers, he accepted it with great satisfaction. All the Vaishnavas became overwhelmed on seeing that wonderful incident and on smelling the sweet fragrance of that Kadamba garland. Shortly thereafter, another most wonderful incident took place. Everyone smelled the wonderful fragrance of Damanaka flowers. The fragrance of Damanaka flowers enchanted everyone's minds. All 10 directions were filled with that fragrance. Nityananda smiled and said, Oh, brothers, tell me, do you smell something? Everyone folded their hands and said, Yes. Say, we smell the wonderful fragrance of Damanaka flowers in the 4 directions. On hearing their words, Lord Nityananda mercifully revealed the secret behind this. Nityananda Prabhu said, Listen to this most confidential topic. All of you should understand this. Lord Chaitanya came today from Nilachal to hear the kirtan. His body was decorated with a divine garland of Damanaka flowers, and he stayed here for a while, leaning against one tree. The 4 directions were filled with the divine fragrance of the Damanaka flowers that were decorating his body. The Lord personally came from Nilachal to see you all dance and chant in kirtan. Therefore, you should give up all other engagements and absorb yourselves in the constant glorification of Lord Krishna. May you all become filled with the mellows of ecstatic love by constantly glorifying Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Chandra. After speaking these words, Nityananda loudly chanted the name of Hari. He then cast his love-filled glance in all the directions. By the love-filled glance of Nityananda Swarup, they all forgot themselves. Oh, brothers, hear about the power of Nityananda and how he distributed devotional service throughout the entire world. The devotion of the gopis described in Śrīmad Bhagavatam was awarded to the people of the world by Nityānanda. As Nityananda was sitting on the throne, all of his associates danced before him. Some climbed out on the branch of a tree and walked on the leaves, yet he did not fall. Someone roared loudly in ecstatic love and jumped down from the top of a tree. Someone roared loudly as he grabbed the root of a tree and then uprooted it while chanting the name of Hari. Someone ran into a betel nut forest, grabbed 5 or 7 trees, and uprooted them together. His body was filled with such powerful ecstatic love that he uprooted those trees as if they were blades of grass. Nityananda Swarup's ecstatic love was so powerful that everyone's body became filled with the transformations of ecstatic love for Krishna described in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, such as crying, shivering, being stunned, perspiring, hairs standing on end, shouting loudly, voice choking, turning pale, thundering, roaring like a lion, and falling unconscious in ecstasy. There was an intense shower of ecstatic devotional love in whatever direction Lord Nityananda cast his glance. Whoever he looked at lost consciousness in ecstatic love and rolled on the ground, forgetting his cloth. As someone tried to catch hold of Nityananda Swarup's feet, Nityananda Prabhu sat on a throne and smiled. All the principal associates of Nityananda were fully empowered. They became omniscient, and whatever they spoke became true. Their features resembled those of Cupid. Anyone who was touched by their hands forgot everything and became overwhelmed with ecstasy. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu relished devotional service for 3 months in the village of Panihati. For 3 months, no one manifested external consciousness. They did not feel even the slightest urge of the body. None of them ate anything for 3 months. They did nothing other than dance in the happiness of ecstatic love. The happiness of ecstatic love that manifests in the village of Panihati will be described in the 4 Vedas. Who has the ability to describe all the pastimes that Nityananda performed in half an hour? What to speak of 3 months? Nityananda passed every moment dancing in ecstasy in the midst of his associates. Sometimes he would sit in the Virasan posture and have the devotees dance one after another before him. You dance. Okay, now you dance. Like that. The dancing of each devotee was so sublime that the 4 directions became filled with a flood of ecstatic love. And the happiness of ecstatic love, everyone would fall to the ground like banana trees falling in a great storm. All the devotees did whatever Lord Nityananda asked them to do. He would induce all the devotees to constantly perform Sankirtan as inaugurated by Śrī Krishna Chaitanya. He began to manifest such ecstatic love that anyone who came to watch became overjoyed. Whenever any servant desired something, he would immediately receive it. In this way, they were all so absorbed in the mellows of ecstatic love that those 3 months seemed like only a moment. After some days, Nityananda Prabhu desired to decorate himself with some ornaments. As soon as that desire awoke in him, all varieties of ornaments appeared there. And then it gives a beautiful description of Nityananda Prabhu's, such a beautiful description of what he looks like, his form, his beauty. Like very detailed. It's the most detailed explanation I've ever seen of Nityananda Prabhu's, all the ornaments he's wearing with the clothes, everything. All living entities became astonished when they saw him. The most blissful Nityananda is a combined form of the holy name and the form of the Supreme Lord. Even the atheists who saw him offered him respects and considered offering everything to him. The body of Nityananda Swarup was most enchanting. He glanced mercifully on everyone. When he was eating, sleeping, or wandering about, he did not waste a moment without Sankirtan. Wherever he performed dancing and congregational glorification of Krishna, many people became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. Even the householders' children, who did not know anything, uprooted large trees. They roared loudly, uprooted trees, and they ran around, exclaiming, "I am a cowherd boy." Each boy possessed such strength that even 100 people were unable to control him. The children would joyfully roar like lions and call out, "All glories to Śrī Krishna Chaitanya and Nityānanda." In this way, Nityananda, the life and soul of all children, the Balak Jivan, he overwhelmed those children with ecstatic love. For 1 month, those children did not eat anything. People became struck with wonder on seeing this. All the devotees became overwhelmed with ecstatic love, and Nityananda became the children's sole protector. All the Balaks rakak hoilen Nityananda. The Lord would feed the children with his own hand as if they were his children. He would sometimes bind one of them and keep them nearby. Bind them and keep them nearby. You don't go anywhere. Although he beat them and bound them, they would laugh loudly. One day, Nityananda went to the house of Gadādhara Dāsa to bestow mercy on him. Gadādhara Dāsa Mahashaya was fully absorbed in ecstatic love in the mood of a gopi. He held a pot of Ganga water on his head and continuously called out, "Who wants to buy milk?" There was a most enchanting deity of Śrī Balagopal in his temple. When Nityananda saw that enchanting deity of Balagopal, he affectionately embraced the deity to his chest. When everyone saw Śrī Balagopal on the chest of Ananta, they began to loudly chant the name of Hari. The great wrestler Nityananda roared loudly and began to dance in the mood of a cowherd boy. Then Madhavananda Ghosh sang about the Dan Lila, and the lion-like Avadut became greatly satisfied. The voice of the fortunate Madhav was so sweet that the crest jewel of Avaduts became absorbed in ecstasy, and the happiness of his own ecstatic love, Nityananda enjoyed such pastimes with the fortunate Śrī Gadādhara Dāsa. Gadādhara Dāsa had no external consciousness, for he was absorbed in the mood of a gopi, and always considered himself to be a gopi. When Lord Nityananda heard topics of the Dan Lila, he danced in a way that is beyond description. He displayed all the transformations of ecstatic love as he danced incomparably. As he danced, the movement of his bodily limbs appeared like lightning. How wonderful was the movement of his arms! How wonderful was the movement of his eyes! How beautiful was his smile! And how wonderful was the swaying of his head! How wonderfully he jumped about, keeping his two beautiful feet together. The men and women, in whatever direction Nityananda cast his love-filled glance, all floated in the mellows of love for Krishna. His glance was filled with such mercy that everyone forgot their own bodies in ecstasy. By Nityananda's mercy, anyone and everyone relished the devotion that the best of the yogis and sages desire. If a person as strong as an elephant does not eat for 3 days, he will not be able to walk and his body will become weak. Although each of those children did not eat for 1 month, they behaved like lions. Such was the potency that was manifest by Lord Nityananda. Yet by the influence of Lord Chaitanya's illusory energy, no one could understand. In this way, Nityananda stayed a few days in the house of Gadādhara Dāsa, absorbed in the mellows of ecstatic love. Gadādhara Dāsa did not display external consciousness. He would always induce everyone to chant Hari Bol. Okay, so that's where we read up to yesterday. Hari Bol, Rukmini Didi, and Vidyalalasa Didi, and Rasapriya Didi. Oh, when he was in the Virasana. I wonder if it's the same Virasana that modern yogis do. Oh, there was a lot about the Virasana in the Adi-khaṇḍa. And I think I remember in our readings there that it was a different Virasana than, like, I think the Virasana in yoga, like modern yoga, is like that, right? Like am I like you put your arms straight and you have your legs like that, right? And I think this Virasana, it described it in detail. It was, I think, like you had both feet were touching both thighs. Anyways, we can look that up later on. All right. Oh, and Haribo Champak Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Okay, so She grame Kaji ache parama durbar kirtaner pratidvesh koroye apar. There was a most sinful Kazi living in that village. He strongly opposed the performance of kirtan, Gaudiya Bhasha. In that village of Antya-khaṇḍa, there lived a most powerful Kazi who was greatly inimical to religious principles and who strongly opposed the congregational glorification of Hari. Paranande matta Gadādhara Mahashaya nisha bhage gela she kajir alay. Gadādhara Mahashaya was always intoxicated with transcendental ecstasy. One night, he went to the house of that Kazi. Je kajir bhoy lok palay antare nirbhoye chalila nisha bhage tar ghare. Although people generally ran away in fear of that Kazi, Gadādhara fearlessly went at night to his house. Niravadi haridvani korite korite pravishta hoi lagia kajir barite. Gadādhara continually chanted the name of Hari as he entered the Kazi's house. দেখে মাত্র বসিয়া কাজের সর্বগণে বলিবারে কারো কিছু না আইসে বদনে. The Kazi's servants sat down speechless as they watched Gadādhara enter. He's not afraid. Gadādhar bole, are Kaji beta kotha. Jata Krishna bolo nahe chinro tor mata. Oh my God. Gadādhara Das said, where is that fellow Kazi? Quickly chant the name of Krishna, or I'll rip off your head. I'll sever your head. Korea Bhashya. The word jata means quickly, without delay, or soon. People generally, and remember this Kazi, people generally ran away in fear of that Kazi. But Gadādhara, he said that I'm going to rip off your head if you don't chant Krishna. Okay. Agni heno krode kaji hoila bahir. Gadādhara Das dekhi matra hoila sthir. The Kazi was as angry as fire as he came out of the room. But on seeing Gadādhara Das, he became pacified. Kaji bole Gadādhar, tumi kene etha. Gadādhar bolen, achaye kichu kata. The Kazi said, Gadādhar, why are you here? Gadādhar replied, I have something to say. Śrī Caitanya-Nittyānanda Prabhu Avatari, Jagater Mukhe Bolaila Hari Hari. Gadādhar said, I have something to say. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu have incarnated in this world to induce everyone to chant the name of Hari. Shave tumi matra nahi bolo Hari naam, taha bolaite ailaya tomastan. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu have been incarnated in this world to induce everyone to chant the name of Hari, but you alone have not chanted the name of Hari. Therefore, I have come to your house to make you chant. Parama Mangala Hari Nama Bolo Tumi, Tomar Shakala Pap Udaribo Ami. Just chant the most auspicious name of Hari, and I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Yadapiha Kaji Maha Hingshak Charita, Tatapi na bole kichu hoila stambita. Although the Kazi was most envious by nature, he was stunned and could not say anything. Hashi bole Kaji shuno das Gadādhar, kali boli baya hari aji jaho ghar. The Kazi then smiled and said, listen, Gadādhara Das, you go home now. I will chant the name of Hari tomorrow. Korea Bhashya. Although the Kazi was most envious and opposed to religious principles, he smiled on seeing Gadādhar's simplicity. While smiling, he said, by your request, I will chant the name of Hari tomorrow. For now, you go home. As a result, Gadādhar became especially happy to hear the name of Hari issue from the mouth of the Kazi. Hari nama matra shuni len tar mukhe, Gadādhar dasa purna hoila prem sukhe. As soon as Gadādhara Das heard the name of Hari come from the Kazi's mouth, he became filled with ecstatic jubilation. Gadādhara Das bole ar kali kene, eto balila Hari apanavadane. Gadādhara Das then said, why tomorrow? You just now uttered the name of Hari. Ar tor amangal nahi kon kon, jokhon korila Hari namer grahan. Since you have uttered the name of Hari, all your inauspiciousness has been immediately vanquished. Etaboli parama unmade Gadādhar, hate tale diya nrita kore bahutar. After speaking these words, Gadādhar clapped his hands and danced wildly, intoxicated with ecstasy. Kotokhane ailen apana mandire, Nityānanda adhishtan jahar sharire. After some time, Gadādhar returned to his house. Nityānanda always resided in his body. Heno mata Gadādhara Dāser mahima, Chaitanya Parshada madhe jahar ganana. Such are the glories of Gadādhara Das, who is counted among the associates of Lord Chaitanya. Je kajir batas na loy sadhu jane, paile matra jati loy she khane, heno kaji durbar dekhile jati loy, heno jane kripa drishti koila mahashoy, heno jan pasarilo sab hingsa dharma, ihare she boli Krishna ave sher karma. Saintly persons did not want to be touched by the air that touched the Kazi, for they felt that such contact would make them lose their caste. Yet Gadādhara Das Mahashai glanced mercifully on that most sinful Kazi who took away the caste of any Hindu he encountered. When such a person gives up his envious nature, it is to be understood that this is the potency of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna Ananta Om. Gaudiya Bhashya. The Kazi of Antya-khaṇḍa was most sinful. Whenever he got the opportunity, he would take away the caste of those who did not respect him. Śrī Gadādhara Dāsa destroyed the envious nature of such classes of people. Therefore, he displayed the potency of Krishna consciousness. Satya Krishna bhava hoy jahar sharire, agni sarpa vyagratare langhite na pare. Fire, snakes, and tigers cannot harm a person who is truly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Gaudiya Bhashya. Creatures like snakes and tigers do not harm persons intoxicated with ecstatic love for Krishna, and fire will not burn them. We have the example of Prahlad and Holika, right? ब्रह्मादिर अभिष्ट जे सब कृष्ण भाव गोपी गणे व्यक्त जे सकल अनुराग इंगिते से सब भाव नित्यानंद राय दिलेन सकल प्रिय गणेरे कृपाय. Out of his causeless mercy, Lord Nityananda freely distributed to his dear associates the love for Krishna that is desired by personalities like Brahma and the attachment to Krishna displayed by the gopis. Gaudiya Bhashya. Demigods headed by Brahma cannot understand the gopis' cultivation of Krishna consciousness. But Śrī Nityānanda Prabhu mercifully and freely gave his own servants the gopis' attachment to Krishna, which is rare for even personalities like Brahma. Bhajo bhai heno Nityanandir charan, jahar prasade pai Chaitanya sharan. Oh, brothers, just worship the lotus feet of Nityananda, by whose mercy one can attain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Tabe Nityananda Prabhu vara koto dine, shachi ai dekhivare icha hoilo mane. After some days, Nityananda Prabhu felt a desire to see Mother Shachi. Shubha yatra korile Navadvīpa prati, parishad gana sab koriya sanghati. So he began an auspicious journey to Navadvīpa, accompanied by his associates. Tabe ailen Prabhu Karadaha grame, Purandar panditer devalaya sthane. On the way, the Lord came to the house of Purandar Pandit in the village of Karadaha. And in the WhatsApp group, I sent a bunch of videos of, so you can see my Facebook post, which has videos of, what is it? Panihati Patabadi, that's Bhagavat Acharya's place, Raghunath Bhagavat Acharya, and also Karadaha. Actually, should we look at Karadaha now? I don't want to take up time. Where is it? Let's see. Let's find Karadaha. That's Raghava Pandit Samadhi right there. There's Karadaha. This is Radha Sham Sundar, worshipped by Nityananda Prabhu's son, Virachandra Prabhu. They didn't allow me to take pictures, so that was a sneaky photo that I took. They were trying to watch me also to see, because I asked them if I could take photos and they said no. And so then it's like, okay, let's sneak this in there. So that's from the place out. That's Karadaha. And this is Madan Mohan at Karadaha. Madan Mohan. There's also a Radha Gopinath there, but we missed the darshan there. When we got there, it's closed already. All right. So on the way, the Lord came to the house of Purandar Pandit in the village of Kardaha. Kardaha grame asi Nityananda rai, jota nritya korilen, kohane na jai. As he entered the village of Kardaha, Lord Nityananda danced so wonderfully that it is beyond description. Purandar Panditer Parama Unmad, Vrikher Upare Chori, Kore Singhanad. Purandar Pandit became so intoxicated with ecstatic love that he climbed a tree and roared like a lion. Bahya nahi Śrī Caitanya Daser Sharire, Vyagra Tadaiya Jai Baner Bhitore. The body of Śrī Caitanya Das displayed no signs of external consciousness. He would chase tigers through the forest. He would chase the tigers. I'm gonna catch you, tiger. Kabulamphadiya ute, vyagharer upare. Oh my God. Krishner prasade vyagra lankite na pare. Sometimes he would jump on a tiger's back. Yet by the mercy of Krishna, the tiger would not harm him. Wow. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Maha ajagara sarpa loe nija kole nirbhaya Chaitanya Dasa thake kutuhale. Sometimes Chaitanya Das would fearlessly take a large python on his lap and play with it. Vyagharer sahita khela khelen nirbhoy heno kripa kore avadhuta mahashay. He would fearlessly play with tigers. All this is possible by the mercy of Avadhut Nityananda. So much fun. Sevakavatsala Prabhu Nityananda Rai Brahmar Durlabha Rasa Ingite Bhunjai. Lord Nityananda Prabhu was affectionate to his servants. He freely gave them mellows of love that were rarely attained by Brahma. Chaitanya Daser Atma Vismriti Sarvata Nirantar Kohen Ananda Mana Katha. Chaitanya Das had no fear for his external body, of which he was completely forgetful. He could spend all 24 hours of the day chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or speaking about Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Dui tin din maji jaler bhitare thaken kokhono dukha na hoy sharire. Sometimes he would remain submerged in water for 2 or 3 days, but he would feel no bodily inconvenience. Korea Bhashya. Aquatics always live in the water, but land animals are unable to stay underwater for a long time. But Śrī Caitanya Das could live underwater like a stone without feeling any discomfort. He did not manifest any change in his consciousness. It's like a mermaid. Jadaprai alakhita sarva vyavahar parama uddama singha vikram apar. Thus he behaved almost like inert matter. Yet sometimes he displayed great enthusiasm like that of a lion. Chaitanya daser jata bhaktir vikar kotova kohite pari shakal apar. It is not possible to describe the transformations of devotional service displayed by Chaitanya Das, for they were all unlimited. Jogya Śrī Caitanya Dāsa Murari Pandita Jar Vatase O Krishna Pai Je Nishchita. But it is understood that anyone who is touched by the air that came in contact with Murari Chaitanya Das would certainly be enlightened in Krishna consciousness. Bangsiwala Prabhu says, glories to Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda. Ebe keho balai Chaitanya Dasanam Swapneho na bole Śrī Caitanya Gunagram. Nowadays, someone calls himself Chaitanya Das, though he never chants the glories of Lord Chaitanya, even in his dreams. I wonder if that Chaitanya Das ever saw this in the Caitanya-bhāgavata. That he's ridiculed right in the Caitanya-bhāgavata. Advaiter prananath, Śrī Krishna Caitanya, Jar Bhakti Prasade Advaita Satya Dhanya. Śrī Krishna Caitanya is the beloved of Advaita. Advaita became truly glorious as a result of his devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. Jai Jai Advaiter Jait Chaitanya Bhakti, Jahar Prasade Advaiter Sarva Shakti. All glories to Advaita's devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. Advaita was fully empowered by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Sadhu loke Advaiter e mahima ghoshe, keho iha Advaiter ninda heno base. Saintly persons always glorify Advaita in this way, but some people consider this an insult to Advaita. Gaudiya Bhashya. Oh, never mind. Okay. Sheho char bolai Chaitanya Dāsa nam, papi ke mone jai Advaiter sthan. Some useless person like this may call himself Chaitanya Das, but how can such a sinful person attain the shelter of Advaita? How can such a sinful person attain the shelter of Advaita? Gaudiya Bhashya. One duplicitous devotee of Advaita Prabhu used to call himself Chaitanya Das. His idea was that Śrī Krishna Chaitanya was Radhika and Advaita was Krishna. Whoa, weird. That's super weird. What the heck? But actually, Lord Chaitanya is a combined form of Radha and Govinda, and Śrī Advaita Prabhu is a devotee of Lord Chaitanya. This so-called servant of Lord Chaitanya was actually averse to Lord Chaitanya. Śrī Advaita Prabhu became fully empowered simply by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Yet that Ativadi, or overly proud person, who considered himself a devotee of Advaita, did not realize this fact and thought that such a statement was an insult to Śrī Advaita. Anyone who considers a sinful person a follower of Advaita could not and cannot understand the mentality of Advaita. E papire Advaiter loka bole je, Advaita hridoy kabu nahi jane she. One who considers such a sinful person a follower of Advaita never understands the heart of Advaita. Rakshaser naam jeno kohe punya jan, e mata e shab Chaitanya Dāsa gan. These persons may be known by the name Chaitanya Das, or servant of Chaitanya, just as demons are known by the name Punyajan, or pious person. Gaudiya Bhashya. In Sanskrit language, the phrase Punyajan is used as a synonym for Rakshasa, or demon. Oh yeah, I see that kind of thing a lot actually in Sanskrit. What are some examples? Anyways, therefore, to call oneself Chaitanya Das is simply a method of deceiving people. It's like sarcastic. Those who do not understand the deep meaning of the phrase Punyajan consider that it is a good connotation, but in actuality, it is used to give the opposite meaning. Similarly, if names like Chaitanya Das are not indicative of the actual meaning, but are used to indicate an offender of Lord Chaitanya, then a person with such a name can never become an actual servant of Lord Chaitanya. Koto dine thaki Nityānanda koradahe, saptagram ailen sarva gana sahe. After passing some days at Karadaha, Nityananda went with his associates to Saptagram. Gaudiya Bhashya. For an elaborate description of Saptagram, see the Anubhashya commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 11, text 41. And Kishore is making the point, yeah, that doesn't make sense because Advaita Prabhu was praying for Krishna to descend. How could he be Brajendra Nandan? And Mahaprabhu would be Srimati Radhika. Yeah, it's nuts. How can Advaita be Krishna? Yeah, I know. People are crazy. She saptagrame ache saptarishi sthan, jagate vidita she tribeni ghatanam. In this village of Saptagram, There is a place associated with the 7 sages known throughout the world as Triveni Ghat. Gaudiya Bhashya. The confluence of the Ganga, Saraswati, and Yamuna is known as Triveni even today. The riverbed of the Yamuna is still found near Kancharapada. Some time ago, this river used to flow into the Triveni Sangam. Reports that the Yamuna riverbed existed near Govardhanga are still current. She Ganga Ghate Purve Saptarishi Gan Tapakori Pailen Govinda Charan. The 7 sages previously performed austerities and attained the lotus feet of Govinda on the bank of the Ganga at this place. Tena Devi Shaistane Ekatra Milan Janavi Yamuna Saraswatir Sangam. The 3 goddesses, Janavi, Yamuna, and Saraswati, merged together at this place. Prasiddha Triveni Ghat Shakala Bhuvane Sarva Papa Khoi Hoi Jar Darashane. This place is renowned throughout the world as Triveni Ghat. By taking darshan of this place, all one's sins are destroyed. Nityānanda Prabhuvar Parama Anande She Ghate Snan Korilen Sarva Vrinde. Nityānanda and his associates took bath at this ghat in great ecstasy. Udharana Datta Bhagyavantir Mandire Rohilen Tatha Prabhu Trivenir Tire. Lord Nityananda stayed on the bank of the Triveni at the house of the fortunate Udharan Datta. Kaimano Vakya Nityanandir Charan Bhajilen Akaitave Datta Udharan. Udharan Datta sincerely worships the feet of Nityananda with his body, mind, and speech. Nityananda Swaruper Seva Adhikar Pailen Udharan Kiba Bhagyatar. How fortunate was Udharan, who achieved the opportunity of serving Nityananda Swarup. Gaudiya Bhashya. Nityananda Prabhu is none different from Baladev. To achieve his service is rare for even demigods like Brahma. But his dear servant Sri Udharan Thakur received that opportunity. Janma Janma Nityananda Swarupa Ishwar Janma Janma Udharano Tahar Kinkar. Birth after birth, Nityananda Swarup was his master, and birth after birth, Udharan Datta was his servant. Jate Kavanikko Kul Udharan Hoite Pavitra Hoilo Dvidha Nahiko Ihate. There is no doubt that the entire mercantile community was delivered by Udharan Datta. And we have our Udharan Gaudiya Mat. That was one of the first mats established by Srila Bhakti Brigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj in Chunchura. It's just near Umadiri's house. Jateka Vanik Kul Udharana Hoite Pavitra Hoilo Dvidha Nahiko Ihate. There is no doubt that the entire mercantile community was delivered by Udharan Datta. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sri Udharan Thakur appeared in the Suvarna Vanik community, the communities of bankers and gold merchants. According to social consideration, this community is inferior. Although he appeared in an inferior community, he was the recipient of Sri Nityananda's mercy. There is no doubt that all the people from inferior communities followed his example and gave up their respective family prestige. Inferior mercantile communities like the Kalayora and Bhangari also became inclined to worship Hari. Vanik tarite Nityananda avatar, vanikere dila prem bhakti adhikar. Lord Nityananda advented to deliver to the mercantile community. He gave them the qualification to develop ecstatic love of God. Saptagrame Shabaniker Ghare Ghare Apane Nitāi Chanda Kirtane Vihare. Nitāi Chandra would personally enjoy kirtan pastimes in the houses of all the merchants of Saptagram. Vanik Shakala Nityanandir Charan, Sarva Bhave Bhojilen Loya Sharan. All the merchants took shelter at the lotus feet of Nityananda and worshipped him in all respects. Vanik Savar Krishna Bhajan Dekhite, Mane Chamatkar Pai Shakala Jagate. People of the entire world became astonished on seeing the merchant's devotional service to Krishna. One second, I'm just moving I'm going to stand up for a little while. Nityānanda Prabhuvar Mahima Apar, Vanik Adhama Murka Je Koilo Nistar. The glories of Nityananda Prabhu are unlimited. He delivered even the foolish, degraded merchants. Gaudiya Bhashya. Since the Suvarna Vaniks were naturally uneducated fools and were always absorbed in thinking about mundane wealth, their hearts became polluted. Śrī Nityananda Prabhu delivered all the merchants who were present at the time. Later on, some so-called devotees inimical to Nityananda took birth among those merchants and have become as well as are becoming averse to Hari. One second. There. Okay. Saptagrame Prabhuvar Nityananda Rai, Gana Shaha Sankirtana Koren Lilai. Lord Nityananda enjoyed Sankirtan pastimes with his associates in Saptagram. Saptagrame Jata Hoilo Kirtana Vihar, Shata Vatsare Otahar Nari Varni Bar. The Kirtan pastimes that took place in Saptagram cannot be described even in 100 years. Purve Jeno Shuka Hoilo Nadia Nagare, She Mata Shuka Hoilo Saptagrama Pure. Saptagram became filled with the same ecstasy that had previously filled the entire district of Nadia. Ratri Dine Khuda Trishna Nahi Nidra Bhoy, Sarvadike Hoilo Hari Sankirtana Moy. Whether day or night, people did not feel the urges of hunger, thirst, fear, or sleep. All directions were filled with the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Prati ghare ghare prati nagare chatvare Nityananda Prabhuvara kirtane vihare. Nityananda Prabhu enjoyed kirtan pastimes in every house, every neighborhood, and every village. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word chatvar refers to a neighborhood or a park. Nityananda Swaruper Abesh Dekhite, Heno nahi je vivala na hoy jagate. There is no one in the world who is not overwhelmed on seeing the ecstatic mood of Nityananda Swarup. Anyer ki dai Vishnu drohi je javan, tahara opar parme loi lo sharan. What to speak of others? Even Yavanas who are inimical to Vishnu took shelter at his lotus feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. Yavanas are by nature non-devotees and envious of the Supreme Lord. Javaner nayane dekhiya prem dhar, Brāhmaṇe o apanake koren dhikar. When the Brahmins saw the Yavanas' tears of ecstatic love, they condemned themselves. Gaudiya Bhashya. The Brahmins are exalted and the Yavanas are degraded. Being devoid of all samskars are purificatory processes. Jai Jai Avaduta Chandra Mahashai, Jahara Kripai Sab, Heno Shabaranga Hoy. All glories to Avadut Chandra Mahashai, by whose mercy all such pastimes took place. E mote Shaptagrame Ambua Muluke, Biharen Nityananda Swarupa Kotuke. In this way, Nityananda Swarup happily enjoyed pastimes in Saptagram in Ambua Muluka. Tabe koto dine aelen shanti pure, Acharya Goshai Priya Vigraher Ghare. Then, after some days, he went to the house of his dear Advaita Acharya in Shantipur. Dekhiya Advaita Nityaanander Shrimukh, Heno nahi janen janmila kon shukh. When Advaita saw Nityananda's face, he could not understand. He could not understand how joyful he became. Hari boli lagilen korite hunkar, pradakhin dandavata koren apar. He roared loudly and chanted the name of Hari. Then Advaita circumambulated Nityananda and offered him obeisances. Nityananda Swarup Advaita Kori Kole Sinchilen Angatan Premananda Jale. Nityananda Swarup embraced Advaita and soaked his body's Nityananda Swarup embraced Advaita and soaked his body with tears of ecstatic love. Donhe donha deki boro poila vivash janmilo ananta anirvachaniyaras. They both became overwhelmed upon seeing each other, and they felt unlimited, indescribable ecstasy. Donhe donha dhori gori jayen angane, donhe chahe dhori bare donhar charane. They rolled on the ground in each other's embrace, and they tried to grab each other's feet. Koti singha jini donhe kore singha nad, samvarana nahe dui prabhur unmad. The two roared more loudly than millions of lions, and they were unable to control their madness. Tabe koto khane dui prabhu hoila sthir, boshilen ekastane dui mahadhir. After a while, the two most sober Prabhus became pacified and sat down together in one place. Kara joda koriya advaita mahamati santoshe kore Nityananda pratistuti. The broad-minded Advaita folded his hands and happily offered prayers to Nityananda. Tumi Nityananda Murti Nityananda Nam Murti Manta Tumi Chaitanya Gunadham. Advaita Prabhu said, your form is Nityananda and your name is Nityananda. You are the personification of Lord Chaitanya's transcendental qualities. And what does Nityananda mean? It means ever blissful, right? Eternal bliss. Sarva jiva paritran tumi mahahetu mahapralayete tumi satya dharma setu. You are the ultimate cause of all living entities' deliverance. You protect religious principles even during the total annihilation. Tumi she bhujao Chaitanyar prem bhakti, tumi she Chaitanya vrikhe dharo purna shakti. You propagate Lord Chaitanya's devotional service and ecstatic love. You are the fully empowered branch of the tree of Lord Chaitanya. Brahma Shiva Naradadi Bhakta Nam Jar, Tumi she Parama Upadeshta Sabakar. You are the supreme instructor of all devotees, headed by Brahma, Shiva, and Narad. Vishnu Bhakti Shabe Payento Mahoite, Tatapio Abhimana Nasparshe Tomate. Everyone attains devotional service to Vishnu by your mercy, yet you are never touched by pride. Patita Pavana Tumi Dosha Drishti Shunya, Tomare she jane jar ache bahu punya, sarva jagya moy e vigraha tomar, avidya bandhana khande smarane jahan. You are the deliverer of the fallen souls. You do not find faults in others. Only a person who has heaps of piety can understand you. You are the personification of all sacrifice. Simply by remembering you, all bondage of ignorance is destroyed. Gaudiya Bhashyam. While glorifying Śrī Nityānanda Prabhu, Śrī Advaita Prabhu said, you are the deliverer of the fallen souls, and you do not find any faults in the distressed. No one other than the most pious person can understand you. You are the personification of all sacrifice. Simply by remembering you, all bondage of ignorance is destroyed. Jai Śrī Nityananda Ram, Hari Bol Paramananda Prabhu. যদি তুমি প্রকাশ না করো আপনারে, তবে কার শক্তি আছে জানিতে তোমারে? If you do not reveal yourself, who will have the power to know you? Akroda Paramananda Tumi Maheshwar Sahasrabadana Adi Deva Mahidhar. You are free from anger. You are supremely blissful, and you are the ultimate controller. You are the thousand-headed original Lord who sustains the universe. Rakhakul Hanta Tumi Shri Lakshmana Chandra Tumi Gopaputra Haladhar Murti Manta. You are Sri Lakshman, the destroyer of the demoniac dynasty. You are Haladhar, the son of the cowherd. Murka Nicha Adham Patita Udharite Tumi Avatirna Hoyacho Pritivite. Hoyacho Pritivite. You have incarnated in this world to deliver the foolish, fallen, and wretched souls. Jai Bhakti Vanchaye Yogeshwar Muni Gane Toma Hoite Taha Pae Beka Jete Jane. The devotional service desired by the best of the mystic yogis, the devotional service desired by the best of the mystic yogis and sages will be obtained by anyone and everyone by your mercy. By anyone and everyone. Jete Jane. Sorry, yeah. Kohite Advaita Nityanander Mahima Ananda Aveshe Pasharilen Apana. Pasharilen. As Advaita glorified Nityananda, he became absorbed in ecstasy and forgot himself. Advaita she gyata Nityanander prabhav e marma janaye kono kono mahabhag. Advaita knows the glories of Nityananda, and some most fortunate souls also know. Tabe je koloho hero anyonye bhaje she kevala parananda jadi jane bhuje. But the quarrels that are seen between them are nothing but sources of transcendental happiness, provided one understands them. Advaiter bhakya buji bar shaktikar Jani ho Ishwar sone bhed nahi jar. Who has the power to understand the words of Advaita? Indeed, he is none different from the Supreme Lord. Gaudiya Bhashya. See the verse Advaitam Harinadvaitad from Sri Swarup Damodar's notebook, and quoted here also in Chaitanya which is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 1 verse 13. Heno mate dui prabhu vara maharange biharen Krishna katha mangala prasange. In this way, the two Prabhus joyfully relished the auspicious topics of Lord Krishna. Anekara hasya kori advaita sahita ashish prakare tan janmaila prita. Nityananda exchanged many confidential topics with Advaita, and thereby unlimitedly increased his happiness. Tabe Advaiter sthane loy anumati Nityananda ailen Navadvīpa prati. Thereafter, Nityananda took permission from Advaita and departed for Navadvīpa. She mate sarvade aila ai sthane asi namaskarilen air charane. He first went to the house of Mother Shachi and offered obeisances at her feet. Nityananda swarupere dekhi Shachi ai ki ananda pailen tar antanai. On seeing Nityananda Swarup, Mother Shachi's happiness was boundless. Tar antanai. Ai bole bap tumi satya antaryami, tomare dekhite icha korilaya ami. Mother Shachi said, Bap, my dear son, you are certainly the super soul, for I just had a desire to see you. Mor chitta jani tumi aila satvar ke toma chinite pare sangsar bhitor. Realizing my desire, you came quickly here. Therefore, who within this world can understand you? Kotadin tako bap Navadvīpa base jeno toma dekomui doshe poke mase. My dear son, stay here in Navadvīpa for some days so that I can see you every 10, 15, or 30 days. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase doshe poke mase means after 10 days, after 15 days, or after a month. মুই দুঃখিনীর ইচ্ছা তোমারে দেখিতে, দৈবে তুমি আসিয়াছো দুঃখিতা তারিতে। I am distressed and desire to see you. Now by the arrangement of providence, you have come to remove my distress. Shuniya ayar vakya bhase Nityananda, je jane ayar prabhaver adi anta. On hearing Mother Shachi's words, Nityananda smiled, for he knew the beginning and end of Mother Shachi's glories. Nityananda bole shuno ai sarva mata, tomare dekhite mui asiacho heta. Nityananda said, "Listen, Mother Shachi, O Mother of all, I have come here to see you. Mor boro icha toma dekhite hetai, rohinaya navadvipe tomar agyai." I had a great desire to see you here. Therefore, on your order, I will stay in Navadvip. Henomate Nityananda, I sambhashya Navadvipe Brahmin Ananda Jukta Hoya. After speaking with Mother Shachi in this way, Nityananda happily wandered throughout Navadvip. Navadvipe Nityananda prati ghare ghare, sab parishad shange kirtana vihare. Nityananda enjoyed kirtan pastimes with his associates in each of the houses within Navadvip. Navadvipe asi Prabhu vara Nityananda, hoilen kirtane ananda murti manta. After arriving in Navadvip, Nityananda Prabhu became the personification of ecstasy in kirtan. Prati ghare ghare sha parishad sange, niravadi vihare and sankirtana range. He constantly enjoyed sankirtan with his associates in each and every house. Parama mohana sankirtana mallavesh, dekhite sukriti pai ananda vishesh. Simply on seeing his most enchanting dress as a leader of the Sankirtan party, pious people were greatly satisfied. Gaudiya Bhashya. Pious persons became especially pleased on seeing Śrī Nityananda Prabhu's enthusiasm for Sankirtan. Shri Mastake Shobe Bahu Vida Pattavas, Tarupari Bahu Vida Malyer Vilas. His head was decorated with various fine silk cloths, upon which was placed various flower garlands. Kante Bahu Vida Mani Mukta Swarnahar, Shruti Mule Shobe Mukta Kanchana Apar. Around his neck, he wore varieties of necklaces made of jewels. His ears were adorned with gold earrings set with pearls. Suvarner angara bolay shobha kore, na jani koteka mala shobhe kolevare. He wore beautiful gold armlets and bracelets. I do not know how many flower garlands decorated his body. Koro chana chandane le pita sarvayanga, niravadi bala gopaler pray ranga. His entire body was smeared with sandalwood pulp mixed with gorochana. He always sported like a cowherd boy. Ki apurva loha danda dhoren lilai, purna dasha anguli suvarna mudrikai. He effortlessly held a wonderful iron staff. His 10 fingers were all decorated with gold rings. Shukla nila pita bahu vidhi pattavas, parama vichitra paridhaner vilas. He was most charmingly dressed with varieties of fine white, blue, and yellow silk cloth. Vetravangshi panchani jathar pate shobe, jar darshana dhyan jaga mano lobhe. He had a cane, a flute, and a bamboo stick stuck in his belt. By seeing or remembering him, the minds of everyone in the world became enchanted. Rajatanupur malla shobeshi charane, parama madhurdvani gajendra gamane. His lotus feet were adorned with silver ankle bells and bands, which produced sweet sounds as he moved like the king of elephants. Oh, Dandavat pranams, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Jai dike chahen Prabhu vara Nityananda, Shay dike hoy Krishna rasa murti manta. In whichever direction Nityananda Prabhu glanced, everyone became filled with the mellows of love for Krishna. Henomate Nityananda parama kotuke, Achen Chaitanya Janma Bhumi Navadvīpe. In this way, Nityananda resided in Navadvip, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, in great happiness. Gaudiya Bhashya, the birthplace of Śrī Caitanya Dev is Navadvip. That particular portion of Navadvip is known as Sridham Mayapur. Navadvipa Jeheno Mathura Rajadhani Koto Moto Lokha Ache Anta Nahi Jani. Navadvip is just like the capital city of Mathura. No one can know how many people lived there. Heno Shab Shujan Achen Jaha Dekhi Sarva Mahapap Hoite Mukta Hoy Papi. There were so many pious people that simply by seeing them, sinful people became liberated from all sinful reactions. Tati madhe durjan je koto koto boishe sarva dharma ghuche tar chayar parashe. Many sinful people also lived among them. Simply touching their shadows, all one's religious principles were destroyed. People were that some of the people were that sinful. Taharao Nityananda Prabhur Kripai Krishna Pate Rata Hoilo Ati Amayai. Yet, by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, they were also brought to the path of pure Krishna consciousness. Apane Chaitanya Koto Korila Mochan Nityananda Dware Udharila Tribhuvan. Lord Chaitanya personally delivered many living entities, and through Nityananda, he delivered the three worlds. Chor dasyu adham patita nam jar nanamate Nityananda koilen udhar. In some way or other, Nityananda delivered the thieves, the rogues, the fallen, and the wretched. Shuno shuno Nityananda prabhur akhyan chor dasyu jemate korila paritran. Now listen to the topics of how Nityananda Prabhu delivered the dacoits. Navadvipe boshe eka Brāhmaṇa kumar tahar samana chor dasyu nahi ar. In Navadvip, there lived one particular Brahmin's son who had no equal among the dacoits and rogues. Wow, another sinful Brahmin, like Jagai and Madhai. Now we have another one. There's one particular Brahmin's son who had no equal among the dacoits and rogues. Jata chor dasyutar mahasenapati nameshe Brahman ati parama kumati. He was the leader of all other dacoits. That evil-minded person was a Brahman in name only. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase nameshe Brahman refers to a Brahman Bruva, or a so-called Brahman. See the Padma Puran and the Manu Samhita 785 for definitions and symptoms of the Brahman Bruvas. Paravade doya matra nahi ko sharire nirantar dasyugan sanghati vihare. He mercilessly killed others and always remained in the company of other dacoits. Nityananda swaruper dekhi alankar suvarna prabal mani mukta divyahar. One time he saw that Nityananda Swarup was decorated with divine necklaces and ornaments made of gold, coral, jewels, and pearls. Prabhurshi ange dekhi bahuvida dhan harite hoilo dasyu brahmanirman. On seeing the various valuable ornaments on the Lord's body, that dacoit Brahman decided to steal them. Maya kori nirabadi Nityananda shange brahmaye tahan dhan haribar range. Whenever Nityananda went to that Brahman's, wherever Nityananda went, that Brahman stealthily followed him for the purpose of stealing his wealth. Antare paramadushta dvija bhalo noy, janilen Nityananda antar hridoy. Nityananda, as super soul in everyone's heart, knew the intentions of that wicked-minded Brahman. Hiranya pandita name eka shubha Brahman, she Navadvīpa voishe maha akinchana. In Navadvip, there lived one qualified Brahmin named Hiranya Pandit, who had no material assets. Gaudiya Bhashya. One symptom of a qualified Brahmin is freedom from material possessions. She bhagyavanter mandire Nityananda thakila virale prabhu hoya asanga. Nityananda left his associates and quietly resided in the house of that fortunate Hiranya Pandit. she dushta Brahman, parama dushtamati, loya shakal dasyu koroye jukoti. The sinful Brahman was most wicked. He gathered the other dacoits and made a plan. Are bhai shabe ar kene dukha pai, chandi mae nidhi milaila ekathai. Oh, brothers, why are we still suffering? Goddess Chandi has provided for us a treasure in one place. Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Chandi Mata is the only shelter fulfilling our material desires. She has mercifully provided the ingredients for our act of plundering. All the jewels and ornaments and all the gold and everything we want is all on the body of Nityananda. It's all in one place. E avaduter angete alankar, sona mukta hira kasa boy nahi ar. The ornaments decorating the body of this avadut are all made of gold, pearls, and diamonds. Koto lokot takar padartha nahi jani, chandi mae ekathai milaila ani. I cannot say how many hundreds of thousands of rupees his ornaments are worth, and Goddess Chandi has brought them together in one place. Shunya bari maje thake hiranyer ghare, kariya anibo eka dander bhitare. He lives alone in a house of Hiranya. We can go there and take everything within half an hour. Dhalo kandaloi shabe ho samabai ajigiya hana dibo kotoko nishai. Collect your swords and shields, for tonight we will raid that house. E mata jukti kori shab dasyugan, shabe nisha bhaga jani kori logaman. After making plans in this way, the dacoits waited for the night. Dacoits waited for the night and then set out for the house. Kanda churi trishul loiya jane jane, asiya bediya Nityānanda jai sthane. Equipped with swords, knives, and tridents, they gathered near the house where Nityananda was staying. Ekasthane rohiya shakal dasyugan, age choro pataiya dilo ekajan. Those dacoits all waited at one place while they sent a spy to check out the situation. Oh, Hare Krishna, Sarveshwari, Didi, Haribol. So the dacoits all waited at one place while they sent a spy to check out the situation. Nityananda Prabhu var koren bhojan, chaturdike harinam aloy bhaktagan. Nityananda Prabhu was taking his meal, and the devotees were chanting the name of Hari in the four directions. Krishnanande matta Nityananda bhrityagan, keho kore singhanar, keho vagarjan. The servants of Nityananda were so intoxicated in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness that some of them roared like lions and some thundered. Rodan koroe keho parananda rase, keho karatali dia atta atta hase. Some cried in the mellows of ecstatic love, while others laughed loudly and clapped their hands. Hoi hoi, hi hi, kore konjan, Krishnanande, nidra nahi sabai chetan. Others called out, hoi hoi, hi hi. In the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, no one slept. Choro asi kohilek, dasu gan sthane, bhat kai avadhuta jage sarva jane. The spy returned and said to the dacoits, the avadut is taking his meal, and the others are all awake. Dasu gan bole shabe, shuuka kaiya. Amra o boshi shabe, hana dibagia. Anyways, I think there's a mistake here. I'll have to check this later on, though. The dacoits replied, let them eat and go to sleep. We will wait for a while and then raid the house. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word hana means attacking with cries and shouts. Boshila shakal dasyu eka brikhatale, paradhan loibek ei kutuhale. All the dacoits sat under a tree, satisfied that they would soon plunder someone's wealth. Keho bole mohar shonar tada bhala, keho bole mui nimu mukutara mala. One of them said, I will take his gold bracelets. Another said, I will take his pearl necklace. Keho bole mui nimu karna abaran, swarna hara nimu mui bole kono jan. Someone else said, I will take his earrings. One said, I will take his gold necklace. Keho bole nimu rajat, keho bole mui nimu rajat nupur, shabe e monokola kayen prachur. Someone said, I will take his silver ankle bells. In this way, they all dreamt about the wealth they expected to get. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase monokola means an object of enjoyment desired in a dream. Monokola. It's mind fruits, mind bananas. I don't know. He noy shamoy Nityānanda ichai, nidra bhagavati asi chapila sabhai. By the will of Nityānanda, at that time, the goddess of sleep cast her glance on the dacoits. She khane ghumaila sabadas yugan, nidrai hoila shabe maha achetan. All the dacoits fell asleep at that place. They became practically unconscious in sleep, and they became practically unconscious in deep sleep. Prabhur mayai heno hoilo mohita ratri pohailo tabu nahiko samvita. They were so bewildered by the Lord's potency that they did not wake up, even when the night had passed. Kakarave jagila shakal dasyugan, ratri nahi deki shabe hoilo dukhaman. Then the crows began to call out, and the dacoits awoke. Crows are the most obnoxious. They were all unhappy to see that night had already passed. Asti basti dhalo kanda, pelaiya bane sai, satvare chalila sab dasyu ganga snane. They quickly hid their swords and shields in the forest and went to take bath in the Ganga. Sheshe sab dasyu gan nijasthane gela, sabe sabare gali pari tela gila. Thereafter, the dacoits abused each other as they returned to their homes. Keho bole tui age ghumaye parili, keho bole tui boro jagia achili. One dacoit said, you fell asleep first. And another replied, as if you were awake. Keho bole koloho koroho kene ar laja dharma chandiaji rakila savar. Another said, why are you quarreling? Chandi has saved us from embarrassment. Dasyu senapati je Brāhmaṇa durachar sheboloe koloho koroho kene ar. The sinful Brahman, who is the leader of the dacoits, said, why quarrel anymore? Je hoilo she hoilo chandir ichai ekadina gele ki shokaladina jai. Whatever has happened took place by the will of Chandi. We lost only one day, but there will be others. Pujilam chandiaji mohila apane bini chandi pujiya gelayate karane. I think Chandi has bewildered us today because we went without first worshipping her. Gaudiya Bhashya. Another reading for Aji today is Asi Kim. Bhalo kori aji shabe madhya mangsha diya, chalo shabe ekathaye Chandi puji giya. Let us go together and properly worship Chandi with wine and meat. Gaudiya Bhashya. Wine and meat are ingredients for the worship of goddess Chandi. Eteka koriya jukti shabdas yugan, madhya mangsha diya sabe korila pujan. After making plans in this way, all the dacoits worship Chandi with wine and meat. So we'll hear what happens tomorrow. When they try to go to steal again tomorrow. Is this a good cliffhanger right here? I think so. It's 8:30 now, so I think I should stop. The next day, the dacoits took up various weapons. They dressed in blue cloth and looked like brave heroes. In the dead of night, when everyone was asleep, the dacoits surrounded the house. As the dacoits came near the house, they saw it was guarded by many soldiers. Those soldiers were armed. They surrounded the house on all four sides, and they constantly chanted the name of Hari. They had large, powerful bodies and looked like most formidable. They looked most formidable, being equipped with various weapons.
The dacoits could see that each of those soldiers was powerful enough to kill 100 people in a moment. They all had flower garlands, their bodies were smeared with sandalwood paste, and they continuously engaged in congregational chanting of the holy names. Nityananda Prabhu was sleeping as those soldiers chanted the name of Krishna in the 4 directions. On seeing the situation, the dacoits were struck with wonder. They went away from the house and sat to one side. The dacoits then all began to discuss among themselves. From where have all these soldiers come? One dacoit said, the Avadut must have somehow understood our plan and borrowed these soldiers from someone. Another said, oh, brothers, I have heard from a number of people that this Avadut is very wise. This Avadut Mahashaya is so intelligent, he arranges it for his own protection. Otherwise, those soldiers we saw did not even look like human beings. I think people call him Goshai because he has such great influence. Someone else said, oh, brother, you are a fool. How can one who eats and dresses like him be called a Goshai? The Brahmin leader of the dacoit said, I know the reason. Many influential persons from all over, they come from all over to see this Avadut. A king's military commander has come from somewhere with many of his soldiers. Those soldiers are all sentimental and therefore they chant the name of Hari. This is not the right time since the soldiers are here. We'll wait for a few days. Let us all go home today, oh brothers. We will wait quietly for about 10 days. After the leader spoke in this way, the dacoits all returned to their homes. Meanwhile, Avadut. Anyways, we'll read all this. By remembering even those who worship the lotus feet of Nityananda, all obstacles are vanquished. For when Nityananda himself enjoys his pastimes, who can create any obstacles? Okay, anyways, I'm going way over time, so let's stop here and we'll find out what happens in this Leela tomorrow. Jai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitāi Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitāi Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitāi Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. I'm going to do a short judge only because I'm over time. Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Goriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Saparsha Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigana Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtana Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai, Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai, the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Shri, all the associates of Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Dvadash Gopala ki Jai, Jai Śrī Gadādhara Dāsa ki Jai, Śrī Purandar Das ki Jai, Śrī Caitanya Das ki Jai. I can't remember the others' names. Parameshwari Das, that we read about today. No, I don't think we read about Parameshwari. Anyways, all the associates of Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Jai Shri Shachi Mata ki Jai. Shri Advaita Chandra Prabhu ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. The deliverance of these dacoits ki Jai. I'm guessing they're going to be delivered tomorrow. I don't remember the story. Anyway, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitāi Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Jai Shri Nityananda Rama ki Jai. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyegacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Oh, I forgot. Udaran Datta Thakur. Udaran Datta Thakur ki Jai. All the Suvarna Vaniks ki Jai that receive the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. Okay, Hari Bol. All right, Dandavat Pranams, Bhavatarani Mataji, Nari Hari Prabhu, Champak Mataji, Ananta Om Ji, Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, and let's see on YouTube and Facebook. 1 second, let me just move down to see. 1 second. Hari Bol, Kishore Prabhu, Shubhananda Prabhu, Raseshwari Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Vidya Lalasa Didi, Rasapriya Didi, Kishore, I already said Kishore Prabhu, Vanksiwala Prabhu, Paramananda Prabhu, and Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, Sarveshwari Mataji, and so many other devotees. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining. See you all tomorrow. I love all the parts about Nityananda Rua and Caitanya-bhāgavata are just the best. All right. And Kishore is saying, I remember hearing a story from the Puranas of a king that got in trouble with Kali for killing goats. I don't remember the details. Okay, yeah. All right, Hare Krishna, everybody. Dandavat pranams. See you tomorrow. Haribol. Haribol, Champak Mataji. Where is end? I lost my cursor. Oh, there it is. Okay.